My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. And now let's do the main event. So we have UFC 264, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, a trilogy. I love trilogies. There's some all-time great trilogies out there. Randy Couture versus Chuck Liddell is the greatest trilogy in all of sports that I can remember. And this may be one of those two finishes. They have each finished each other. I'm almost positive there'll be a finish in this fight, but let's go ahead and break it down. We all picked Dustin Poirier in the last fight. We picked him to win. We were very successful. Danny Boy, a teammate with Dustin, knows Dustin well, so I'm positive I know what direction you're going, but let's definitely hear your insight. I'll go very quickly. I have Conor McGregor in this fight. I picked Dustin last fight, and Dustin won last fight. I was very happy with that.
Wow, you're picking McGregor?
I have McGregor in this fight, man. I think he touched Dustin up in that first round. He put his hands wherever he wanted to, and even though I picked Dustin Poirier to win last fight, when we were watching that first round, I remember being like, I blew it. Like, what a terrible pick. Conor McGregor's piecing him up. And that's how it looked. And then obviously Dustin is so insanely tough. Dustin has way more ways to win this fight that he pulled it out and he got that win. He looked awesome. And now we have this trilogy. The reason I'm picking Conor very quickly, I think he still has that laser pinpoint accuracy. He still has that power. I think he's going to be in much better shape this time, and he's going to be prepared for the leg kicks. And he has already started with his, I say already, we're only a few days away from the fight, but he's all in on the mental warfare part. He just tweeted before we started recording this, he just tweeted a screenshot of Dustin's wife sending him a message on Instagram. Who knows what the context is? But either way, he screenshot it, he sent it out, and that is he's just doing what he does, bothering people, getting in their heads, just making everything spin out of control. So I'm picking Conor to win because, again, he has that accuracy. He still has that power. I'm assuming he'll make adjustments for the leg kicks. Dustin, if he made adjustments for the Conor accuracy, for the Conor power, he absolutely has more ways to win. But Danny Boy, why don't you go ahead and break it down for us? I know you're
I'm actually curious. I know what I'm going to say. I'm very curious to hear what Jacob's going to say because I did not hear your guys' video yet. So I would love to hear Jacob give his thoughts here. So you think that in the last however many months, not a long time, McGregor has made the adjustments via blocking calf kicks and McGregor fast training system for his cardio?
I think he's made the adjustments he's needed, and I think cardio is a big one. And he touched Dustin whenever he wanted to. He just touched him.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's so funny you said, like, watching that first round, you're like, oh, man, I made the wrong bet. I remember watching the first round and being like, all you got to do is survive and grapple a little bit. And once we make it out of the first round, and you're going to win this fight. I didn't think it was going to happen that quickly after the first round, but it was basically out of the first round, and you're going to win the fight. So before I tell you what I think will happen this time, Jacob, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that cardio is not going to be an issue because I think Conor gets this done the first round. I agree with Angelo. He was landing everything he wanted to in the first round, but I don't think he was really chasing a finish because he was worried about a long fight. So he wasn't really sitting down on punches that he normally sits down on. So I don't think he's going to have to worry about the calf kicks or the cardio because he was landing everything he wanted to. And I think he just comes across, just bull rushes Dustin and just starts piecing him up and lands the shot that he wants to land and gets it done early. So I like Conor. I like Conor early. I don't think he has to worry about cardio or the leg. If he's worried about the takedowns and the leg kicks, the thing to just destroy that is just to rush Dustin, either force the shot out of him and then do something out of that position, or you just bum rush him. He can't kick you, and then he's on the ground. So I think Conor just comes out, tries to make a big statement that I'm the man. I'm coming out. I'm gonna knock you out in the first round to put everyone at ease. So I
And-
like
and-
Conor in this matchup.
And real quick before you go, Dan, this is a very different fight. And Dustin Poirier is not Nate Diaz. But look at the adjustments Conor made from Nate 1 to Nate 2. Like giant. And granted, there was a size difference there, but that went from he gassed and got submitted after getting knocked down to full 5 rounds, poured it on late in the fight and won that fight. So he can make those adjustments in very short periods of time.
So I'll give you, we'll call it somewhat of a fair point on the Diaz and McGregor too. First of all, I'll say I was impressed with McGregor because I did not see that fight going the way it did. I did not see McGregor winning those later rounds. But you also have to remember it was like the second or third round. McGregor was literally gassed out and running away. So he got a second win. Thank God, probably due to his cardio. But I don't think fighting against Poirier, he makes it out of that round. Poirier, you know the Poirier does the hop step. He sees you hurt, and he does the little hop step and comes over and puts power on you, whereas Diaz will keep peppering you a little bit, and that's how I think McGregor made it out of the round. You know, they got the clinch. He was throwing some, shots in the clinch.
And Nate will play to that too, right? Nate just kind of waddles around and is pointing at him and stuff. Where Dustin's a kill. I mean, there's different levels.
Right.
Like I'm making a kind of a case against Conor right now, but Dustin is way better than Nate Diaz.
Yes.
So he's not going to play those games and be like taunting him and then start slapping him. He's going to get right in his face. So I agree with you on that.
He does the Happy Gilmore hop step into just power shots, whereas Diaz will point at you, walk around, laugh, and then pepper with some shots. But man, if McGregor is tired like he was in that fight, the second fight where the adjustments were made, Poirier knocks him out. So it's a fair analogy to make, but I don't know if it's the right one because I just don't. I think he would have gotten put away by Poirier. So yeah, I mean, my take on this fight is honestly, I don't see it really being much different than the first fight. I think McGregor's live in the first round.
The second fight.
I'm sorry, the second fight. I forgot about the first one even happened, right? Yeah, that was whatever in 2014 at a different weight class, and Poirier got clipped early. But yeah, I don't see this fight being much different than the first one. Honestly, actually, one thing I'll say that could be different is you could see more wrestling out of Poirier in the first fight than the first round. I think. Listen, if I'm fighting Conor McGregor, and you know how powerful and how sharp he is in the first round, he's not a 5-round fighter. Even in the Diaz 2 fight, okay, we'll call him a 5-round fighter in that fight, but in general, he is not a 5-round fighter.
His power disappears very quickly. His power disappears. He still has timing, and he still is accurate, but you can definitely tell the drop off from the shots that were hitting Nate. He dropped Nate 3 times in the first 2 rounds. And then later on, he's hitting him with those same shots, but there's just not anything behind him anymore. He loses all his power.
Yep. And if you really put a pace on him and mix in some wrestling and some clinch, dude, he just unfortunately has one of those body types where you get that lactic acid buildup, and it's tough to deal with that. It's very, very tough when you have a certain type of body. That you're just not
I deal with that every day in the gym, Dan. Every time I get a pump, I'm winded.
Well, I mean, you look like you should have cardio or something because the guys who don't have cardio are usually really muscular.
Some giveth there.
What's funny is in high school, I think it was right out of high school, my friend, one of my best friends was like, because I was even skinnier back then. He's like, dude, I will quit my job right now if you will just help me train or help you train for the Olympics for like marathon running or whatever. He's like, you have the perfect marathon running body. You just
oh my god, that's
like,
an insult.
Right now if you promise me you'll train. I said no, thank you.
All right.
So
Anyone
Danny
ever
Boy,
tell you
you're
have a face for radio?
You're very high on Dustin.
I just think he's got so many ways to win. I think McGregor's got, obviously, like he does in any fight, a big shot chance. He's very clean and very precise in the first round. But I think Poirier can wrestle. He can get takedowns. I think he can strike with him even in the first. I think it could be competitive. You just got to be a little careful. And I think once it's out of, call it, listen, I do think McGregor will be in better shape this fight. I think he realized the mistake. It was the first fight back in a while, so whatever, McGregor fast, all that good stuff. Similar to the Diaz 2 fight, he made adjustments in his cardio. I just don't think it's enough. I think by the third round in a grueling fight, he's going to get put away. The calf kicks, man, those are something that are hard to really figure out how to block. There's not like, oh, let me just, I just got to train blocking calf kicks. Like, dude, it is hard to block calf kicks. You can't really, dude, if you turn your knee out,
you almost have to step into it and just fire a right hand right into it.
Yeah, well, that's one way, but you also have to be very quick with moving it out of the way, and then you're thinking about it, and then you're losing your base to throw punches. So it's easier said than done.
But is it harder for Conor to counter the calf kicks with a punch being a southpaw? Isn't it easier to get the lead leg of a southpaw because they don't have that right hand over the kick to throw at you? Because that would be Conor's jab.
What was the question? Is it easier to get the lead leg?
Yeah, if you're Dustin, isn't facing a southpaw easier to get their lead leg because you're not worried about the right hand coming over the top of your calf kick?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, one of my favorite, this was before calf kicks really happened, thank God, but my favorite defense for a leg kick, I mean, first of all, I got tree trunks for a leg, so I just eat the kick, but I literally just put all my weight on my lead foot and counter with a straight right hand. The problem is with calf kicks, they're so much more devastating. So it's almost like I would take a leg kick to give a right hand any day. A leg kick to my thigh, but calf kick, you take one of those the wrong way, and it changes the next few minutes of the fight, potentially the whole fight. So those things are a different animal, but. Yeah, overall in this fight, Poirier, I think, is live to win a lot of ways via wrestling early on, tiring McGregor out, and finishing him just like we saw last time. I think he's also very live for a sub. People don't talk about it, but he's got very good darces, guillotines, and if McGregor gets tired, you know how that goes. Anything's possible. Get his back, choke him out, ground and pound. He gives his neck up.
Yeah.
So I took that. I took a lot of bets on this one. If you guys haven't watched our early bet video, go check it out. I think I've got, other than a McGregor early knockout, I think I got a lot covered in terms of high value bets. I took Poirier finish in 3, 4, and 5 at ridiculous odds. I took Poirier inside the distance, and then I took Poirier by sub, I think at plus 750 or plus 650. So Poirier sub round 5. I said in the last video, I'm getting Jacob a private jet to Abu Dhabi.
Well, so either way,
let me say one thing too. If I was on Dustin's camp, the first thing I would do is go back and watch the Khabib fight, because I think Conor is worried about the takedowns in this fight. He's tweeted, the first one to shoot a takedown, whatever he said. But I think he's worried about takedowns more than people think. If I was Dustin, I would do that feint and just over the top right that Khabib knocked Conor down with on the very first shot. I wouldn't even, the very first would be a feint with an overhand right, because Conor's going to immediately react to that shot attempt. So I would take that from Khabib and try to throw that exact same shot that dropped Conor.
By the way, he doesn't even need to shoot takedowns. He can literally just get in the clinch, tie him up, build up that lactic acid. It doesn't need to be pure
double leg,
freestyle wrestling. It could be enter, get in the distance, grab him, hug him, just pull on his arms. Poirier is a 5-round fighter. We've seen it plenty of times. McGregor is not. McGregor has shown that he's not even really a 3-round fighter in a lot of fights. So he's really kind of, throughout his career, he's really been an early knockout guy, or
he can survive 5 rounds. Right. He probably can't win 5 rounds against somebody that's not Nate Diaz, against a very skilled fighter. But he can survive 5 rounds.
Right. Think about what Masvidal was on his way to doing to Diaz throughout that fight. You know what I mean? Just different levels when you get that level. When you don't have the level of cardio to go to later rounds, things fall off, skills fall off, everything falls off very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be an interesting fight. I'm the only one on the Conor side, and what's funny is I don't want to be.
I'm on the Conor. What are you talking about?
You guys are both on Conor. I'm on Poirier.
And everything you've said in the last 4 minutes was anti-Conor. That's
I
what
know.
Well,
No, I'm
he
saying
just
if
hears a
goes-
little bit of
all
logic from me, and he starts
no,
saying that.
all my stuff is basically that I think he's going to win the first round. If he doesn't win the first round, everything Dan said is exactly right. So I just think he's going to win the first round.
And I almost don't want to be on the Conor side. I want Dustin to win. I'll be rooting for Dustin. I think what's really cool is whoever wins this fight, that division's awesome. Because if Conor wins this fight, he'll fight for a belt, which will be massive. If Dustin wins this fight, he'll fight for the belt. And I would love to see Dustin Poirier as the champion. I would love to see that. Couldn't be a better dude who earned it more.
Well, he was the intern champ.
One other question for you, Angelo, because this is the other thing I was thinking about. Because you're right, the first round could be tricky for him. And one thing people don't talk about, right? The first fight at 145, Poirier went down with that first big shot. Up at 155, dude, look at him now. He doesn't look sucked out. He is jacked, but he's full. Like
I read a stat, and I don't know if this is right or how they know, but the stat was that Dustin is one of the heaviest lightweights on fight night. He comes in at I think it's 180 something by the time it's fight night. So
yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know for sure at 145. At 145, when you're cutting that much weight, dude, I used to watch him in the gym. Dude, a month out, he was already starting to look like he was on the scale almost. So your head cannot take the shots when you're that dehydrated, you're that sucked out. I think 155 in terms of being able to take shots made a big difference, and you've seen it in all his fights. When have you really seen him get dropped? I mean, you said McGregor had his number in the first round the last fight. You're right. But he took him. So what is he going to do? Does he have harder shots this time around? Is he going to be a little bit cleaner?
My analysis was he will have harder shots because I think he was trying to pace himself for 5 rounds. So I don't think he was sitting on shots the way he will.
Okay. That's a fair point. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that'll also open up him for takedown. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting
You're
one.
very convincing, Dan. I'm like, you're very convincing.
Listen, it's one of those ones where McGregor lands a big shot early. Otherwise, I just don't see how. I don't see him winning a decision. I don't see him winning in the past the second, really, and I see him losing a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think Dustin Poirier is absolutely the more well-rounded fighter. He has way more ways to win. The more talented fighter, except Conor got to him in the first fight. And I think if Conor has better cardio and still can get to him, I think Conor can win the fight. But Dustin has better wrestling. Dustin has better grappling on the ground. Dustin has better cardio. Definitely doesn't have the power. But I saw a stat or a stat sheet. Somebody put together a stat sheet. Dustin Poirier has better stats across the board than Conor McGregor. He's more accurate. Higher volume, like everything was better across the board for Dustin. So,
dude, and that's against a much higher level of competition, I would argue. I mean, let's put it this way. He's fought tougher guys consistently more frequently for a long time. Look at his way to the title. It was a murderer's row.
He had to fight everyone in the lightweight division where
everybody.
The first person Conor fought was the champ in the lightweight division.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I see it being the same fight as last time. But McGregor does have that it factor where sometimes he just figures out ways to win.
He's super accurate and has a ton of power. And that's the only thing I'm basing it on is
in the back of his head, though, too. I bet you he knows, with terms of the money. Let's say he wins. All right, great. They're going to give him a title shot probably right away, right?
Which is huge money.
Huge money. And if he loses, what do you think they're going to do? Diaz 3.
I don't know. Is
Diaz 3.
Yeah,
I don't know
if
he loses.
What's that?
I don't know if he's the same draw if he loses.
You could do Conor Diaz 3 10 years from now, and it'll break records.
I've always said that. I'm like, they've got that in their pocket for whenever they want. That's a trilogy fight. And, yeah, maybe he'll lose a few viewers, but, man, it's still a huge fight.
This was going to be my thing if Conor lost, I think. Yeah, I think if Conor lost, I was going to have one card. The main event, the co-main, is Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz. And the main event is Conor versus Jorge. And then no matter what happens in either one of those fights, then you could do Conor versus Nate.
Well, either way, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. If you like any of the bets, I mean, there's a million prop bets. The comment section right now is going crazy with do they touch gloves, plus 400 if it's a no.
Hell no.
Tons of crazy prop bets. WeWantPicks.com/bets.
Plus 400 on a no right now.
I know. I'm going to.
I am going and hitting that hard right, dude. He just posted a picture about his wife. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, after that tweet today, there's no way. No way.
If they didn't update that yet.
Yeah. Well, WeWantPicks.com/bets if you want to hit that. Monkey knife fight. This is a crazy hard line. I don't know if we're going to agree at all. It's probably less. Honestly, I think we all. If you think Conor wins, it's less. If you think Dustin wins, you can go more is probably the way to put it.
Will Poirier be credited with a takedown minus 115? Okay. That's
okay. Well, Dan's turning into a wild.
Oh, guys, you get to witness this in real time. Yeah, right.
That's exactly.
Couple units right there.
So we will do our full betting breakdown for once all the props are out. We'll release that on Friday. Let us know in the comments how you think this is going to go. I know most people are in the Dustin Poirier camp. This seems to be a completely different swing than we saw last time.